So today we're looking at how to graph a linear equation in standard form by finding x-intercepts. Well, first of all, standard form looks like ax plus by equals c. So it's not a y equals equation. It's not slope-intercept form. So this is going to look a lot like this next one, 4x minus 5y equals 20. It says find the x-intercept, which is where the line crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept, which is where the line crosses the y-axis, and then graph the line. Well, if you think about x-intercept, if x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis, I'm going to go back to this previous page. No matter where this line crosses the x-axis, if I think of points that are on the x-axis, and I'm just going to use points with integer values. So for x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my x values, -1. If I think of points, and I'm writing an ordered pair for that, this is where x is -1 and y is 0 because I'm not moving up off of the axis at all. This is the point where x is 1, y is still 0 because I'm still on the x-axis. I haven't moved up or down. By the time I get over here, this is the point where x is 5 and y is 0. So no matter where my line that I graph crosses the x-axis, so let's say it crosses here, when it crosses the x-axis itself, the y value is 0. We're going to take advantage of that and think of it this way. If the y value is 0, now I'm not going to write out all of this work on every problem. What I'm really doing then to find the x-intercept, I'm solving the equation for x minus 5 times 0 equals 20, because I want to find the x-intercept, y is 0. Well, 5 times 0 is just 0, so this becomes 4x minus 0 equals 20. Well, 4x minus 0 is just 4x. So 4x equals 20, which means if we think about that, we can really start here. We don't need to do the 5 times 0 equals 0, because we know when we simplify that down, it's just going to be 4x. So 4x equals 20. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, so x equals 5. So my x-intercept, I found the value of x is 5 because I put 0 in for y, which means my x-intercept is actually the point 5, 0. Doing the same sort of thing for the y-intercept. Well, it's when x is 0. Now, something to notice, and let me make sure I'm getting a rectangle here. When I put 0 in for x, the 4x becomes 0. What's left in front of there, though, is a negative in front of my 5y. So negative 5y equals positive 20. Pay attention to those signs. Then when I divide both sides by -5, I'm going to get y equals a -4. So the second point I need to plot is when x is 0 and y is -4 for my y-intercept. Now we're going to plot those two lines, and after we plot those two lines, we're going to draw our line, those 2 points, we're going to draw our line through them. So I need to get over to +5 on the x-axis, which means I'm going to set my y-axis over here to the left somewhere to make sure I can get over to +5 on the right. I need to get down to -4 on my y-axis, so I'm going to put my x-axis up here a little bit to make sure I can get down to -4. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my scale in. I only need to go to +5 on x, so I'm going to write that scale, the scale numbers in. Don't forget to put them directly on the grid line, not on the axis, but on the grid line. And I need to get down to -4 for y, so -1, -2, etc., down to -4. I'm going to plot those 2 points, 0, -4, and +5, 0, and then I'm going to try that line that never wants to work very well through here. Plot a line through those 2 points, and then I'm done. Now remember not to draw your arrows right on top of your points. Normally on my paper I extend this line out further in each direction. The reason I'm kind of struggling to do that on here is because to aim it correctly, to go through the two, it's a little difficult. So my next one is this equation. which means to find my x-intercept, I just have to solve the equation 2x equals 24. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals 12. I'm not done. I need to write my x-intercept. X is 12 and x goes first, and we found that because we put 0 in for y. My second equation, positive because of the plus in front of it, 3y equals 24. Now, when I divide both sides by 3, I'm going to get y equals positive 8. So I put 0 in for x, and I found that y was 8. So my y-intercept, 0, 8. Now the challenge on this one, I cannot get over to positive 12 on my x-axis going by 1s, because I only can get to positive 10 going by 1s. So what I need to do when I graph this is, I need to go ahead and get over to positive 12, but I'm going to have to go by 2s on that axis. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I need to get up to positive 8 on my y-axis. I can do that going by 1s. So I need to go by 1s to get up to positive 8. I could get all the way up to positive 10 going by 1s. So if I set my grid line up, my x-axis up one space, I'll still have plenty of room to get to positive 8. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put my scale numbers in. Up to positive 8. Again, I can do that by 1s. Since it is possible to fit it on this graph going by 1s, I need to do that. I can't get to positive 12 on the x-axis going by 1s, so I'm going to have to go by 2s on the x-axis to get over that far. Now, 0, 8 is up here. Make sure I'm putting it in the right place. 12, 0 is over here. Now I need to draw my line that's going to go through those 2 points. And that's my line. Make sure you're putting the arrows at the ends of all of your lines, or they are not the lines you think they are. So my equation, if I put 0 in for y, I get 7x equals 7. Divide both sides by 7 to solve for x, and x equals 1. So my x-intercept is the point 1, 0. My y-intercept, when I get this, it looks like this. And then people get confused. That's the same thing as negative 1y equals 7. So then I can just divide both sides by negative 1, and y is negative 7. So I put 0 in for x, and I got negative 7 for y. Now I only need to get over to 1 for my x's, so I may as well, if I want to, center my y-axis. Doesn't matter if I center it, just means that I need to be able to get over to positive 1 over here. My y has to go down to negative 7, so I'm going to set my x-axis up a bit further to make sure I can get all the way down to negative 7 for y. So, I need to get to positive 1 for x, and down to negative 7, I always say that, and then I want to write that number, down to negative 7 for my y's. Again, notice that I'm marking directly on my grid lines, and hopefully you did not always also go from negative 3 to negative 5 and skip negative 4. The challenge of talking and writing at the same time. So negative 4, and then negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. So 0, negative 7, this crosses the y-axis at negative 7, crosses the x-axis at the point 1, 0. Then I just have to draw my line through those two. Goes through both points. Again, that's a little bit off, but hard to do with this thing on the computer. And there's my line. Now, if it's possible to go by 1s, you need to go by 1s. You only need to change your scale on one axis if you have to get past positive or negative 10 on that axis. Good luck.